Okay, we're back with another poker chip theory video. I'm going to be discussing today the major triad um, with respect to its structure as being a major triad. We know that the major triads of any given scale are on the first degree, the fourth degree, and the fifth degree. Those are called the primary chords of any given scale. If we can agree on that, then we know that we're going to be dealing with a major triad, or what can be referred to, what I like to call it, as root position, the 4-3 structure in terms of half steps. Meaning that in root position, you're going to have the root, the third, and the fifth, with 4 half steps between the root and the third, and 3 half steps between the third and the fifth. Any given chord is going to have those 3 notes. You're going to have a root of the chord. The root is the chord that the name of the letter name that it's named after. So in terms of like C major triad, your root is going to be a note C. And you're going to have a third, which is an alternating note of the major scale. So you're going to skip D and have an E. An E will become your third of your chord. And then you're going to skip the F and you're going to have a G. So C, E, G is going to form your C major root position triad. The white chips are going to represent the roots. The third is going to be the red chips, and the fifth is going to be a blue chip, which is a slightly different color than here. We have purple and green and yellow for the root, the third, and the fifth. But that's what this is representing over here as well. So every given triad is going to have a root, a third, and a fifth. Now, what the 4-3 number means is the structure of the major triad. So knowing that CEG is indeed major, it means that we're going to have 4 half steps between the root and the third. So we have a chromatic scale over here. If this is like C, and this is chromatic from C to C, like you'd see on a piano keyboard, you're going to count 4 half steps between C and E. So we're going to have C to C sharp is 1, C sharp to D is 2, D to D sharp is 3, and D sharp to E right here is going to be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 half steps between them. Again, between the third, now this is going to be the third of the chord, and then your fifth is going to be 3 half steps above the third. So we start counting from this chip here instead of all the way down here. You can start from this one and just count 3. So E to F is 1, F to F sharp is 2, and F sharp to G is going to be 3. So here, given that C major has no sharps or flats, we can see the alternating notes. You skip the D, at E, you skip your F, and here's G. Here would be A and B, and there's the octave C. C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. Again, keeping in mind the structure of a major scale is going to be a whole step, a whole step, a half step, a whole step, a whole step, a whole step, and a half step. Now, knowing that between the root, third, and fifth is going to have 4 and 3 half steps between them, we know that if we start on any note, it's going to have that same structure of 4-3 root position structure. Okay, so I'd like to talk now about first inversion with the same principle of the structure of first inversion. So here we're going to have first inversion structure. And what we've done in first inversion is taken the root of the chord and moved it to the top, which means that the third is on the bottom now, and the fifth comes next, and then the root comes after that. Now, the structure of that form, as opposed to root position where you had 4, 3. Now you have a position of 3, 5. So between the third and the fifth, you still have 3. It's still this same 3, but it comes first. And now you have a new number, 5, meaning the distance between the root and the fifth in this direction. So being above the fifth. Okay, so here you can see that it was 7 below the fifth. If you add 4 and 3, you have 7. It's going to be 5 above it because that number always equals 12, by the way. But here, just remember, we just need to know that first inversion, the structure is going to be 3, 5. So here you can see on our structure here, you're going to have your red chip is go at the third, right? So here's the third. It's going to be on the bottom now. Your blue chip, that's the fifth, comes next, and your root position is transposed up on the top. Okay? And this is the 3-5 form of major. Now we remember we're talking about a major triad. That's real important to remember that it's major. We're talking about the major triad and major triad in first inversion. Because minor is going to have a different structure with different intervals. But the major is 3-5. Okay, so 3 half steps between here and 5 between these two. So if we take the C here, we're going to treat this C as the third, right? Because we're dealing with a major triad in first inversion. So what we're looking for is the chord, the major triad that has C on the bottom in first inversion. So we simply take this form 3-5. We're going to count 3 half steps from C to find the fifth of the chord. We have 1, 2, 3. This will be the fifth. And then we're going to count 5 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To A flat. And we're going to go ahead and put this as the root. So here you can see that the triad with C on the bottom in first inversion is going to be 3 half steps here and 5 here. So it's actually essentially an A flat major triad in first inversion. A flat, C, E flat, or C flat, I'm sorry, C, E flat, A flat. That's wrong. Yes, no, that's right. C, E flat, A flat. Right? Third, fifth, and root. Right? C is the third, E flat is the fifth, and A flat is a root. Or a 3-5 form, starting with C. And that will hold true depending on whatever note you start with on the 3-5 form. I would recommend going through all 12 of these. You can go through all 12 notes and do that 3-5 form and count first inversions for every chip we have laid out here, but that'll take minutes. You can do that on your own. Okay, so that's a good way to practice that. Again, now we can move on to second inversion. Second inversion is the same principle as the first time. We're taking the third and shifting it up to the top. So now we have our fifth on the bottom. And the fifth, and then the root, you have the 5 half steps between the fifth and the root, which was here, just shifted down, and we're taking the third and transposing it up here. Now, we have 4 half steps, again, just like it was over here, from the root to the third, except now we have a 5-4 form. So there's 5 half steps between the fifth and the root, and 4 half steps between the root and the third in second inversion. So in root position it was 4-3. First inversion is 3-5, and second inversion has 5-4. Now we can see here we're going to have this structure here. Our blue chip, our fifth chip, our root, and then our third in this order. So here, root position was root, third, fifth. First inversion is third, fifth, root. And second inversion is going to be fifth, root, third. So, starting with our note here again, C, we're looking for second inversion where C is on the bottom. So C is going to be your fifth. It's going to be a major triad with C as a fifth. Well, we're going to count 5 half steps because that's the structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have F. And then we're going to count over here. It says 5, 4. So we're going to count 4 from here. Or 1, 2, 3, 4 to A. So essentially what you have with C in the 5-4 inversion, you're going to have C as a fifth, F as the root, and A as the third. An F major triad in second inversion. This inversion here. Okay, so that's a quick way to study up on the major triad structures and their inversions. And you can start on any given note. We could start with this note, and you can count if you want the second inversion, where C sharp or D flat is the fifth. You simply count 5, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see that G flat is going to be your root. Let's see, B flat, I guess, is the, if that's what that is, G flat, G, A. That's B flat and D flat. So G flat, B flat, D flat, or a G flat major triad in second inversion, or your 5-4 inversion, right? Again, if you want the root position was 4, 3. So you're going to count here from C sharp, 1, 2, 3, 4 to E sharp, and then 3, 1, 2, 3. This is a root position. C sharp, E sharp, G sharp. That's this structure right here. If you want the second major, or first inversion of a C sharp on the bottom as the third, we're going to count 3 and then 5. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3 with E, and then 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for the major triad of A, C sharp, E, where C sharp is the third on the bottom. E is, C sharp is the third. C sharp, E, A. 3, 5. C sharp, E, A. And you can go through all the notes that way, and it will all give you the same results. Just remember, first root position is 4, 3. First inversion is 3, 5, and second inversion is 5, 4 for your major triads.